What's up, guys? 20.2 is a long one, but hopefully I got a couple strategies here that will help you get the best score that you can. Like last week, we got a long workout for most of us. Unlike last week though, if you were capable of finishing faster, you got a little bit of a break there, I guess. But 20 minutes, everybody has to go for that long. The workout is a 20-minute AMRAP of 4 dumbbell thrusters, 6 toes to bar, and 24 double unders. There's a scaled version, which is the same format, but a little bit lighter thruster. You're doing knee raises instead of toes to bar, and then single unders instead of double unders. For all category standards divisions, the key is pacing here, right? Unlike last week where if you had the capability of kind of pushing the pace to get more round or to get a faster time, this week we want to kind of approach it like we're running a 5K and kind of have a negative split thought process to it, right? If I'm running a 5K, my first mile hopefully isn't going to be detrimental to my second and third mile, right? I want my first mile to set up my second and third mile to be the best that possible, like maybe even faster on that negative split. We need to start out with a good warm-up. The warm-up doesn't have to be anything crazy, and it doesn't have to be very long. One thing about having a long workout is that you could have short warm-ups, but what you need to try to do in the warm-up is get your body sweating, get your body going. Hopefully you're not going to jump into that first round and spike your heart rate to its maximum beats, but we want to at least get some sweat going, get some stretching of the hip flexors and hamstrings because we're going to be squatting and trying to do toes to bar, and definitely stretch those calves out. Some of my main points of this workout have nothing to do with points performance of the movements. It has everything to do with the workout and moving through it in a slow and controlled way, right? We don't want to be rushing anything. You want to be able to move smoothly from one station to the next. Hopefully you have everything set up right underneath the pull-up bar so that way you can make quick transitions from movement to movement. One thing that I think is going to be very tricky in this is figuring out when to breathe. Every movement does require a little bit of bracing, right? The dumbbell thruster is really going to tax our midline. So when it's trying to pull us forward, you're going to have to brace. And by bracing, you're going to have to hold your breath. So you have to figure out a way to breathe there. One way for me on the thrusters is at the top, I like to take a little breath. As I come back down, I brace, and then I exhale, breathe at the top. You get into a rhythm like that, it allows you to kind of maintain breath without holding it. Toes to bar, same thing, right? We're inhaling on the arch, we're exhaling on the hollow part. Inhale, exhale, and that'll allow you to breathe through every single rep. And on the double unders, you don't have to count your double unders. So instead of worrying about what number you're on, worry about how you're breathing and just trying to stay nice and loose through the double unders. Setup. Let's make sure that we set up everything right underneath the pull-up bar. Try to use a 6-foot section rather than a 4-foot section so you can kind of have your dumbbells right underneath you. You could jump up to the bar that you're going to use for toe to bar. That's going to make the quickest transition between those two movements. Have your rope set out a little bit in front of your dumbbells, facing this way compared to your pull-up bar. That way you can get on it, set it down, get right back into your dumbbell thrusters. Whenever you're changing from movement to movement, especially with the dumbbells and the jump ropes, make sure you set them down in a way to set up for the next round, right? So you don't want to finish your last dumbbell thrusters and throw your dumbbells because the next round you're going to have to go chase those down. So finish your last dumbbell thruster, follow it to the ground, set it down right outside your feet where you think you're going to want to squat from, right? When you're finishing your double unders, make sure you set it down in a way that you could just pick it right back up and start your next set of double unders. You don't have to be trying to untie knots in order to get through or get started on that next round. So some points performance on the thrusters. The thrusters are a little bit different, but it's really the same concept, right? We're trying to use the energy that we're generating with our legs to drive through our midline and out our arms to finish overhead. You don't want to get involved, you don't want to be pressing those dumbbells, you want to use your hips and your legs to drive up. So the biggest thing that I tell people is pop your hips first, then press with your arms. If we can get that hip pop to power through and allow our arms to kind of just lock the dumbbells out rather than press them, that's going to be huge. With the dumbbell thrusters, I almost find it to be easier to do that because one end of the dumbbell's resting on each side of your shoulders. So when you pop those hips, you can really shrug your shoulders up and launch those dumbbells off your shoulders. Breathing on dumbbell thrusters, I kind of talked about it earlier. The way that I like to do it is I inhale, I take a breath, inhale on the way at the top, I go through the bottom on the way up, I exhale, pause, inhale, hold, exhale on the way up. You got to have some type of bracing, otherwise your midline is going to get super taxed, which means that when you get back to the toe to bar, that's going to be an issue. So inhale at the top, hold it just until you change directions in the bottom of the squat, exhale on the way up, inhale again, and get into a good breathing pattern there. One thing, last week I saw so many videos on YouTube, and it was very sad that CrossFit gyms are letting this happen with the burpees over the bar where people were galloping and being RX. Make sure that you are locking out your dumbbells, right? There's gonna be so many people who are gonna short arm it or not put their head through the window. Lock your dumbbells out, right? This is a thing. It's some integrity to you. It's what makes CrossFit different than other programs. Don't be that guy or girl that doesn't meet the standard because you're just trying to short arm the reps. Toes to bar. I've already had people text me, should I do scaled because I can only do one toe to bar at a time? No, do the one toe to bar at a time. The key on toes to bar for today's workout, if you can't do them unbroken or if you can't string them together, is just stay moving and limit the amount of time you're hanging on the pull-up bar, right? If you have that funky swing, you don't want to be sitting there trying to knock out 6 toe to bar with that funky swing. You're just going to spend too much time on the pull-up bar. I'd rather see somebody do singles. Now, if you are doing singles, make sure that you're not jumping too high because you have a bunch of jumping that's going to come right after that and the double unders, so you don't want to make it 30 jumps every time rather than 24. So just choose something that doesn't force you to have to do a max vert to get up there. If there's no pull-up bars like that at the gym for you, you could set up the boxes. I am the originator of the box setup method. I've been doing this since 2013, 2012. There's videos of me showing videos that I submitted from the open way back when. But you basically set up 2 boxes or 2 plates. You keep your arms on the pull-up bar basically the whole time, and you use that jumping swing off the boxes. The standard just requires you to have locked out arms and feet start behind you, so this is totally legal. It may be a little bit of annoyance to your gym owner if you're trying to set that up during Friday night lights, but hey, it'll help you get your first toe to bar. It might help you get more toes to bar. Again, breathing is important in this workout because you got to do it for 20 minutes. It's real common to see people that are pretty efficient at toes to bar kind of start kipping through these movements and holding their breath through all 6 reps. Don't do that. I talked about it earlier. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, and go at the pace of your breathing. If your breathing's faster, it could be inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. But for the most part, you need to keep a slow, controlled, smooth pace, and that'll allow you to get further into this workout. Okay, so where most people are going to trip up, no pun intended, is going to be the double unders. But don't panic if you are still working on double unders, but hopefully from last open you said, hey, I'm going to start practicing, I'm going to get these double unders down, and you've got a handful of double unders that you can do. If you're still working on 1 or 2 at a time, don't panic. It's a 20-minute workout, so 1 or 2 at a time is fine. Just don't try to do something that's outside of your capacity. For example, if you're only doing 5 or 6 at a time, don't say, okay, I'm going to go for 24 this time, because it's not going to happen. So stick to whatever it is that you can do and just try to chip away at those 24 each time. And then if you're capable, go really quickly through the other 2 movements. That way you get right back into working out on the double unders. What you don't want to do is start tripping and have to reset, because 2 things, like that's more tiring than having planned breaks. Every 4 I'm going to stop, every 4 I'm going to stop, every 4 I'm going to stop. It's more tiring to go 3, 4, 5, 6, trip, right? And not only that, it becomes frustrating. So stick to what you can do, stay in your lane, and just try to chip away at those 24. Breathing on the double unders is important. This is a workout where you don't have to worry about what number you're on. Hopefully your judge can count well, and you can just kind of sit there and breathe and work, breathe and work, breathe and work. When we're double undering or when we're jump roping in general, we want to stay relaxed, keep the elbows in nice and tight, and use the wrists to turn the rope. If we're staying Angry Bird style with our wrists way out or our arms way out wide and our body nice and tight, you're going to fatigue even faster, and then you're going to be tripping a lot. And then when you move on to the next thing, you're going to be tired from holding your breath. So make sure you're breathing, let your judge do the counting, and just make your way through. Whenever you finish that set your rope down in a way that when you come back to it, you can pick it right back up. If you're having to untie knots, like I said before, that's going to take a lot of time away from you. Even though it is 20 minutes, you don't want to be sitting there trying to fumble with the rope. Okay, like last week, I have top tips. This time I have 8 different tips for you, and I think that if you follow these general tips, you're going to see a better workout score than you would if you didn't follow. The first one is equipment setup. Make sure that you set your equipment up in a way that you finish your thrusters, you set it down, you're jumping up for toes to bar. When you finish toes to bar, you're taking 1 step, picking up your rope. When you do that, it allows you to be able to find each movement or find each placement a little bit quicker, and then you can cut down on those times each round. Number 2 is transitions. Kind of plays in with number 1. Make sure that you practice your transitions. Make sure that when you come down from the pull-up bar, you're going right to the jump rope, and from the jump rope right back to the dumbbells, and from the dumbbells right up to the pull-up bar. Practice it. Practice your transitions. The key here, though, is making smooth transitions, right? We don't want to be rushing from thing to thing. We're not games athletes. So one step, breathe, pick it up. One step, breathe, pick it up. But when you do get back underneath that pull-up bar, don't look at it, right? Jump up, grab it. When you do get to the dumbbells, don't look at them and hope that somebody's going to pick them up for you. Just pick it up and go. Just make sure that that time in between is where you take those 2 or 3 breaths without any loading or without doing a movement. That'll help out a lot. Number 3 plays into those first 2. Set your equipment up for your next round. What I mean by that is don't finish your dumbbell thrusters and then kind of throw them or drop them. Make sure when they hit the ground, your hands are attached to them so you know they're not going to go anywhere. When you finish your jump ropes, make sure you put it down in a way that you can come right back to it. I've said this multiple times. You don't want to come back trying to untie knots. That's going to slow you down. So make sure that when you put your equipment down or whatever you're doing, make sure that it's in a spot that you can continue on in the next round real quickly. And if you're going to use chalk, keep the chalk close. Maybe put it on a J cup or something to where you can quickly chalk up. But you don't really need chalk. It's not a workout that you need chalk. Chalk up real good to start out, and unless you're a super excessive sweater, you probably don't need it at all. Tip number 4, on the thrusters, pop and breathe. Make sure that we're using that leg drive. We're finishing with our legs first, shrugging the shoulders, popping them off to finish overhead, then take your breath. Make sure we're not holding our breath. I call that popping and breathing. Pop the hips, shrug the shoulders, get it off quickly, and then take a breath. Number 5, on toes to bar, if you're not capable of kipping or doing them unbroken, don't hang on the bar unnecessarily. Meaning like don't be doing that awkward swing or trying to hold on for 2 or 3 reps when you can only do 1 at a time. Do 1 at a time, get through it, keep the time hanging off the bar, limit it. Number 6, this kind of goes with the double unders and the toes to bar, because I'd assume that most people are going to do the dumbbell thrusters unbroken, but number 6 is stay moving. Right? So if it's singles on toes to bar, if it's singles on double unders, whatever it is, stay moving. What you don't want to do is end up in that tired position with hands on the knees, resting. Just try to stay moving, do what you can, stay in your lane, do you. Number 7, keep the double unders in sets that you know you can do. Don't try to do a set of 24 when you've only ever done 12. Right? Don't be trying to do max sets of double unders. Keep those double unders to whatever it is that you know that you can do. Take a breath, do another set, take a breath, do another set, and just try to stay relaxed with the double unders rather than getting frustrated and panicking and then end up throwing your rope. Number 8 is don't panic, be smooth, be calm. You have a judge that's going to do all the counting for you. All you have to do is focus on breathing and keeping your heart rate down. Pace the workout out well in the beginning of the workout. Think of it like a 5K. You're going to kind of have a negative split. You want your last mile to be faster than your first mile. So make sure you're starting out slower than you think, and as the workout goes on, pick up your pace. Don't panic if you start to struggle with toes to bar, if you start to struggle with double unders. Just stay in your lane and just try to stay moving. I hope these tips help. Good luck in your workout. Comment below, let me know how you did.